Hi, I'm Kara Thorpe, and welcome. I am so glad you're here. This is your introduction to executive function. Now, you may be thinking, wait a minute, I thought I was doing a video about ADHD. You are, but executive function skills are weaknesses that ADHDers like myself experience. And we truly believe at Yellow Parachute, after 20 plus years of working with students and families and studying the brain, learning all of the good things that we study and research over here, that executive function understanding and looking at difficulties with ADHD and autism and other let's see, dyslexia, hyperlexia, dyscalculia, other disorders, other things that happen in the brain, and then show up as behaviors. We see the way to help humans who have these conditions, who experience these things, is executive function skills coaching. And I'm going to take you through about 15 to 20 minutes telling you why. This video is mostly for students, but if it's for students, then it's for parents of students and it's for teachers of students too. So we just welcome you. So glad you're here once again. Let's get started. First of all, quickly to get us all on the same page about success. Yellow Parachute definition of success is this magic spot between executive function skills, leadership skills, and the social emotional skills that develop as a result of studying executive function skills. So, from those really specific circles, we develop all of the things that we really need for life, for success in school, but also in our relationships, and then beyond school into the career paths that we choose, ultimately for success and fulfillment in life. So this is a transformational activity that you're taking part in today. You are on the road to discovering purpose, productivity, patience when things don't go your way, to developing clarity, alignment, and synergy with your teams, with those around you in your relationships, and then inclusivity, accountability, and creativity when you're looking at those human relationships, maybe like one-on-one communication, and how you show up in the world. Because we know that when you show up in the world as your best self, you are allowing everybody else to do the same thing. And that's where the magic happens. So let's get started. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me. I'm an ADHDer myself. I was diagnosed late in life. In fact, I diagnosed myself after taking my ADHD life coach certification. If you don't know, that's about year and a half long process. Lots of information, learning, coaching, practicing, specific to the ethics of life coaching with an ADHD emphasis, with an ADHD certification. Best thing I ever did, because I was able to identify myself as having ADHD. And then I no longer blamed my husband for my son's diagnosis. Since then, husband, wife, 3 children, and we say 2 dogs too. We all have ADHD, and the cool thing is that it plays out differently for each member of our family, and so I can experience on a daily basis, on a daily level, how 5 individuals with the similar label live it out so very differently. So I hope that helps you. That helps you too. I did my undergraduate at Grinnell College in Iowa, small liberal arts school where I was able to play soccer. It was a great experience to combine a high level of athletics and a high level of academics together. And the small classes really were great for me, though I didn't know that at the time. I then went from Iowa to the University of Minnesota, um, and graduated from the University of Minnesota's Masters of Education program, with an emphasis in elementary school teaching, taught first, third, and fifth grade in the classroom, and then simultaneously was doing some special education graduate coursework to understand more about special education. And then I've been collecting certifications, like, I say, like pairs of black shoes. I just kind of keep, I'm a lifelong learner and keep wanting to better understand how I can serve families and students. And that's a big reason why I'm excited to be creating this video series, because it helps me get to you on your time, and in your very own special way. What's super exciting for me is that the training you're listening to has never been given before to anyone else by anyone else. It is unique to what has come out of my brain after being an ADHDer for 40 some years, and desiring so greatly to find a solution that would help me feel like I'm simply doing a good job. That's all we want, right? Is to feel like we're doing a good job. And I found that for me, it's transformed my life. And I don't want young people, students, to go through what I did without having the knowledge that I have now. So that tells you a little bit about why I'm here and talking to you. Certainly, if there are any other questions that you have, email away. I'm glad to share. And what you're going to get from watching this video is an understanding a little bit more about what exactly are executive function skills. Why in the world are they so important? Remember, you're like, wait a minute, I thought I was talking about ADHD. And then how does an executive function lens, that is our yellow parachute term, how does that help you develop a growth mindset for learning more about habits that are going to help you? And then also, we're going to leave you with, most importantly, after we gain, that understanding, that knowledge, we call it mindset, skill set. What are some habits you can practice? What are some simple things you can do? What are some simple ways you can start practicing executive function skills in your life right now to flex your EF muscles, your executive function skills muscles, and build powerful habits? I don't know exactly when you're going to be watching this, but my summer goal has been to get back into shape. So I'm flexing my muscle, really excited about that bulge there, because that's a personal goal for me. And you know what? I'm not afraid to show you my muscle because I've been working on it. So I want that to set the tone for today. Like, we need to be proud of our accomplishments because we're working really hard at them. And that's the gift that I hope to give to you today, besides the answers to these 4 questions. So, what are executive function skills? The definition that we use here at Yellow Parachute is a set of specific skills, okay, we can develop, okay, to improve, okay, the executive functions. Oh, okay, that's the word again. We use in planning, focusing our attention, switching gears, and juggling multiple tasks. So executive function skills help executive functions. Okay. And executive functions, are you with me? Are planning, focusing our attention, switching gears, and juggling multiple tasks. Now, if you think about it, those 4 things make up pretty much everything you do every day. So are these skills important? Yes, without a doubt. And also, an exciting part of this this video series is the emphasis on the word skills. Why? Because we can practice skills. Think about anything you've ever learned in your life, even walking. You may not remember it, but if you ask for stories, you certainly didn't decide that for the rest of your life you were going to squiggle around on your belly. Every able bodied human learns to walk. If we are able, we learn to walk. If we are able, we learn to learn. And when we are able, we learn how to learn. That's what I'm here for. It takes skills. This is not a reflection of who you are, of your character. And these are not flaws when there are certain things you can't do. They are simply what is and functions of your brain. And so the mindset here is that executive function skills happen in the brain. They can help you get better at planning, focusing your attention, switching gears, and juggling multiple tasks. And they can help you get better at showing up as the person you want to be when you show up. So, first journal opportunity, whether you're watching alone, with someone else, take time to write this down. How does looking at executive function, the things you do well, don't do well, whatever, wherever you're here, how does it help you? How does it help you to look at them, these things as skills, and then how does it offer you a new perspective? I hope you've got a good answer there. And hint, hint, I hope it includes giving yourself some grace and looking at this in the very same way you'd look at learning to, play baseball, football, memorize lines for a play, learn a piece of new piano music. It is practice and it's skills. It's harder to think of that way because it happens in your brain, but that is the growth mindset that we want to give you. So now, how does the lens help growth mindset? Well, let's tell you, here are 5 facts about executive functions that make them really hard to ignore and make them really positive in your life. Executive function skills have been called a mental toolkit for success. They are more predictive of academic and career success than socioeconomic status, which translates typically to opportunity, or IQ. Very, very big connections here between executive function skills and success. As we said, practice is critical for improvement. And with this practice, you need to be continually challenged in order to see improvement. If you think about, I played soccer, so I think about I would practice my soccer drills by myself or solo without anyone against me. Then I would practice them in drills against another individual, and then I would practice them in the game. In the same way, we can think about practicing executive function skills, which is why it's so cool that you're here. You're giving yourself the opportunity to practice or to help someone else practice really being successful in life. That's everything. And that these skills also improve most when we lessen things that impair them from happening: stress, sadness. Think about how I learned my new my new moves in soccer. I practiced by myself first, so I didn't have a defender on me right away. They didn't throw me into a game to practice a specific drill or play right away. There was gradual practice leading up to it. So in the same way, when we remove barriers to success, when we increase support, like for ADHD, positive emotion, encouragement, meaning, purpose, novelty, we are supporting the skills. So we're lessening things that impair them, lessening stress, increasing positive motivation to make powerful, purposeful practice. And in teaching, we call this scaffolding. You'll see that there is a capsule wardrobe to the side. I got a little sick of saying toolkit. I feel like I've been saying toolkit forever. So we're going to call executive function skill capsule. And I know if you're not used to thinking about fashion and clothing, you might not be used to a capsule wardrobe, but basically we start with the neutral basics. Like, what are the most important things for you that you need to do with executive function skills? Then we add the neutral layers. That's just the next step. What you do, accent colors, shoes, same idea. What is your capsule for executive function skills? The way that you start out, your foundational process, and then you add the tools as you go. So you're going to be thinking about your executive function skills capsule as we go. Okay, so we've talked about mindset. We want to be open, just as a parachute is functions best when it's open. Our minds function best when they're open. We are open to learning new skills. We are open to practice. We are looking to lessen things that would create obstacles for us and increase things that would encourage motivation. So if you're a mentor or a teacher, you can see how positive this conversation becomes, and I hope it gives you some ideas that you can start using right away. So we talked about mindset. Now we're going to go to skill set. Skill set is the specific executive function skills that you're going to practice. Well, there are 12 of them. Incidentally, the writers, the authors of the Smart But Scattered series, Peg Dawson and Richard Guare, talk about 12 executive function skills, and we have taken those 12 skills directly from their writing. So if you want a supplemental resource, we highly, highly recommend the Smart But Scattered series. And what's great about these books is you can pinpoint skills that are weaker or better. They even have different books written for different age levels. Great resource, and you can find them on Amazon or in a bookstore. So we're going to look at the 12 executive function skills, and I'm going to talk about them simply. We'll look at a longer list later. Impulse control or response inhibition. You stop yourself from doing what you want to do, and you do instead what you know is best. This is why, at 2, we might hit or grab or scream or cry, and at 12, we're going to have a different reaction. At 22, we're going to have a different reaction. Same with emotional control. Different reaction between a 2, 12, and 22-year-old. Sustained attention, the ability to focus in spite of outside distractions. Sometimes when I'm talking on a video, my kids will come and bother me, and I'm standing right here next to me, and I have to just tune them out and stay focused on recording my video. That is sustained attention. Flexibility. What do you do when things don't go your way? Sometimes, for some people, a change in plans is really overwhelming, and it is what it is, right? You are just simply overwhelmed. That is the fact. And then it's what we do with it after that. Other people are very flexible in going with the flow. So flexibility, also called cognitive flexibility, is the ability to change direction in thinking or planning. Working memory is kind of like holds everything together. It helps us juggle more than one idea at a time simultaneously while we use the idea. So if you think of using the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, to solve a math equation, you are remembering that algorithm and or that formula, and you are plugging in that formula to solve the problem. And incidentally, that's why math teachers say write down your steps, because it takes the load off your working memory so you can concentrate on solving the problem instead of trying to remember what you have to do. So you make fewer little mistakes. Self-monitoring would be saying, oh, wait, I'm supposed to write the problem down. So self-monitoring is thinking about what you're doing. It's also called self-awareness, but it helps you kind of like a voice above. It's also called metacognition, but it helps you think about yourself um, from the outside in terms of what effect your behavior might be having on people. And as you can imagine, metacognition, self-monitoring increases as we get older. Planning and prioritizing is pretty self-explanatory, as is time management. And then task initiation is stopping and starting what we're doing, depending on what we need to do. It's also called shifting. And then organization, keeping things in an orderly fashion. There's lots of varieties of organization I'm sure you can picture in your families and with those who you love. Um, Lots of different possibilities there. Goal-directed persistence is what we really want to build as we practice executive function skills. It's the ability to not succeed in maybe the way that you pictured, but get back up and try again. And then stress tolerance is really the ability to deal with all of these things when they don't go well. Stress tolerance is used to talk in terms of adulthood, because it combines more than one executive function skill, but it serves a good purpose in showing you here's where we're leading with building together all of these skills. So here is your skill set. It is the executive function skills themselves. And now, why is this skill set important? We've said, okay, they build success. And the skill set is important because when it comes to ADHD, certain things happen that cause a mismatch in what happens on the outside and what is planned on the inside. So, as you go through this, there are certain examples like forgetting sports equipment, forgetting items, disorganized rooms, forgetting to do chores, just kind of the little things that are so simple that you go like, how are you forgetting to do this? And then even the person themselves is kind of like, I don't know why. Well, I'll tell you, this is really important. For the person who says, I don't know why, they really don't know why. Russell Barkley puts this very eloquently when he says, it is not that the individual does not know what to do, it is that somehow it does not get done. And so we just really need to understand that an ADHDer could tell you everything about what they plan to do, and it still may not happen. That's why multi-step directions are just like torture. Why things that do not seem important, but still might be, but do not seem important, don't get done. It's that the interest-based nervous system and the brain do not cooperate together to get the little things done. So we end up scratching our heads saying, I don't know why this didn't happen. Hopefully you have a little bit more understanding of why. It's just, it's too hard for your brain to do. We need to help the brain. That's what we're here to do. And why is it really important to understand this? Because our brains, when our brains are seeking to draw conclusions, that's kind of what they do. They kind of like scan the scene for what conclusions can I draw. That's what ultimately what keeps us safe, is drawing conclusions about things that are happening around us. Well, if our brain cannot draw a conclusion about something, the brain seeks one of two very simple conclusions, and this goes for everything. So I want you to understand, it's not sophisticated. It's just this or that. And the conclusions that it makes is either the person who is telling me to do something is bad, or I am bad. Those those are the two conclusions. So when you think about, the person who would be saying, why did you do that? It would be a parent, it would be a teacher, it would be, a supervisor, and you might get mad at them. And you might think, leave me alone, I'm frustrated, or whatever the response is. So you might go to, you're a jerk. Simple, right? Second conclusion, the teacher, the supervisor, the parent, a friend says, why didn't you do that? And for some ADHDers, the conclusion that they draw is, I'm bad. So I'm not worthy. I'm stupid. There's something wrong with me. I'm hopeless. I'm worthless. Gosh, either of these is not healthy, but it's so normal. And there are things we can do to stop our brains from drawing these false conclusions, because executive function weaknesses are not, they are not personality or character flaws. This is just a symptom, a real symptom of executive functioning issues. And I know there are people that say that ADHD isn't real, and that's okay. We don't need to call it ADHD. You could say executive function difficulty, and it's documented in the brain. So if you're sick of fighting for ADHD, maybe you want to try executive function difficulty and talk about the documentation about the brain. Incidentally, I just want to call this out. If you need help doing this, I can give you examples from history that show up in psychology textbooks, that show up in traumatic brain injury examples, where when the prefrontal cortex is damaged, it affects the individual in the same way that individuals with ADHD are affected. So please do not worry. Or do not go looking and feel like you're alone. I can provide a resource. I notice I'm about 26 minutes. I'll probably take you to 30. So these executive function weaknesses happen in the brain. They show up as behaviors. They're so frustrating and can be very debilitating. They are a very normal part, like we said, of executive function issues. They're not going to go away unless you commit to practicing skills that are going to relieve pressure, increase positive motivation, and help you develop the habits. So, great journal opportunity here. How would you feel, or how have you felt when you feel like you're trying your best and you feel misunderstood and judged? Get those words down, get those feelings down. Sometimes it's hard for people with executive function deficits to name their feelings, but do the best you can to mark this place and time so you can understand when you're moving forward what might happen or has happened over time if you keep hearing bad things or thinking bad things about yourself. It becomes a lens, and then no matter what happens, that's the lens that you view the world through, and that can be really, really harmful to your mental health. I'm sure that there are people, if you're listening right now and thinking that, you're not alone. And this is why we're, this is why I'm here, because I want you to understand this, and we can work together to get you where you want to be. So how could you be kinder to yourself, even if it's hard right now to think about how you could be kinder? If you're in that state of feeling really negative, what would you say to a friend? Sometimes that's an easier way to think about it. What would you say to your best friend if they came to you and said, I feel like I'm worthless. I feel like I'm hopeless. I feel like I can't do anything right. You know, think about how you see that person and what you would want to say to them, and then try to say those things to yourself and ask for help if you need it. This mindset is so important to developing the skill set and habits, and this is why the habits are important. We want to take the baggage away, take the shame away, and increase the confidence and the motivation. And so what we want to do is we we have this idea of, these are the bad things. We watch this guy right now, the I can't is growing, right? Like, I can't, but see, now maybe I can kind of comes in there, and we want the maybe I can voice to eventually overpower the I know I can't. But that takes time and work and flexing to bring back my muscle, flexing that muscle. How in the world do we do that? Before I end, and I told you 30 minutes, I'm going to have to go a little more. Here's your first start. Do this journal opportunity. This is going to help you get to using executive function skills to build habits for yourself that feel successful. Write down your daily routines, and you may not have any right now. That's okay. Write down what an ideal daily routine would be. Of course, if you're 7, this is going to be different from 17, 27, 37, 57. We're going to have different routines. But what's an ideal morning routine? And if that seems like a lot, stop there. You can do an afternoon routine, you can do an evening routine. But what you want to do is write down what you would need in a routine to feel successful. And then you're going to go back and look at the executive function skills and match those skills with the routine, with the actions. So you're going to start thinking about how can I call on this skill to help me with this routine. You're going to write it down, you're going to try, and you're going to practice it. Here are lastly some tools to help you think about routines, especially when you're parenting. If you come up against a situation you're frustrated with, stop where you are before you act and yell or act out of impulse and feel frustrated. You're going to regulate your emotions, and you're just going to say, like, okay, what's going on? How can I understand what is at the root of this behavior? Is it tiredness? Where are we in the day? What's going on with our routine? You can name an executive function skill that might be missing at the time, and then you can decide what to do with it. So it gives you a way to go from, just like a sound reverberates, right, from the inside out. You're going to go from the inside out and understand how you can help your student or your child do what they need to do. This is great for yourself too, of course. And then if you need practice with tools, I'm going to give you a website where there are free tools that you can download. But if you're a parent too or a teacher, assume best intent that your kid or your student wants to do the best they can. When they forget the little things, it's because they aren't important. We got to make them important because they're tools to success. And so what are the skills that are missing that you can add into practice? And then here's a review of the most important functions and why. The article that I took them from, Attitude Mag, is a great resource. And then the 3 steps, once again, a quick breeze by the tools on Become Unstoppable You. That's you as in university, becomeunstoppableyou.com. You've got a wellness wheels and habits list. You've got a list creating system, some directions about how to write SMART goals. You can also look back in this recording. And then you've got some free planning tools with weekly planning directions. If you want to start practicing those habits, you can choose and then make checklists for them. And then most importantly too, we want to know what's helpful to you. What can we help you with? You can follow us on Instagram, that's at, our handle is Executive Function Coaches. We're on Facebook as Yellow Parachute Learning Partners. Website is yellowparachute.com. And then the site with the downloads is my personal coaching page, becomeunstoppableyou.com. But our goal is to connect. We want to get this message wide out to people who need it. Tell us how we can help, what you found most helpful. Pass this along, and wherever you are, whatever you're doing, remember mindset, skill set, habits, and believe in yourself, because we believe in you, and you can do hard things. You can flex those muscles and do hard things. So until next time, be well and do well for yourself and for the people you love. Take good care. Bye for now.